Yo, let's do some reloading. I've already done this. This is the decapper resizer. That knocks the primer out. It resizes the shell because it's expanded after you fired it. And it's a tight fit in the cylinder. Next step is in here. This gives the case mouth a little bit of flare. Because after they've been resized, they don't fit so good. About exactly the same size, you know. So grab us a primer, raise that up, set the primer. That bells the case. It's already been set up. That seats the primer. You want it flush or better. And your bullet should just sit in there, like so. Put your primer down there, bam. Loading 357s here. I'm going with 10.5, actually 10.6, 10.6 grains of Hodgdon HS6. And they say you need to use a Magnum primer with that powder. I don't have any Magnum primers. Lots of folks say you don't need to use them, so we're going to find out. Yeah, they make progressive presses where you do all this shit with one handle pull. That's got pros and cons. You can, if it's working right, you can make them faster. If it's not working right, you can fuck them up faster. So I'd rather just fuck one up at a time. I digress a bit. Before I started doing all this, I set my scale there at 10.5 grains. My trusty powder throw. I like to dump one all over the fucking table. You don't need that. Do it like that because when you throw it straight into the powder pan, it tends to splash out. And that one looks a wee light. We got this here. Can you Santos Orthodontis, perhaps? 10.6. That's grains, not grams, but that is a handy scale. It will also measure grams. Multitasking. 10.6. You're going to do this a few times. You want to bang the shit out of that powder throw each time. So knock the powder out of it. 10.6. We're doing good. Except you do that so many times, then you can rest assured you're throwing a consistent round, consistent measure. Put your lid back on you. Now this is a name brand bullet here, Spear. 125 grain jacketed hollow point. That's the most jacked up, cheesy hollow point I've ever seen. But hey, you gotta piss with a cock you brought, right? It's supposed to be 125 grains. That was close. 124.8. Oh, 2 in a row, come on. Oh, there's a big one. That's a 126er. That one's right on the money. We'll use that one. I have to throw the rest away. I'm kidding. But you see there's that much variance in those. It weighs grains and grams. How handy is that? If you can't get any gunpowder, at least you can sell dope, right? Right. And we continue with this. It's either tedious or relaxing, you pick. Find it starts out relaxing and then ends up being tedious. It depends on how many you're doing. I've got about 180 or 90 or so. Not impressed with that Spear bullet design. It might work great. I'm sure if somebody catches one in the chest, they'll quit what the fuck they're doing. That's a 158 grain soft point. That's for meth heads. Well, that's a proper 125 grain jacketed hollow point. Look at that big deep hole in there. And these are the Spear gold dots. I've never fired them. I can't speak on their efficiency, but they're sexy. Just leave these out. When you're at this point, you should be wearing safety glasses. Primers are explosive. Get one jammed up in there the wrong way while you're trying to press it into the shell, it might go pop. Things that go pop never go in the right direction. I only got one good eye left, so I want to keep it. Let's talk about cleaning your brass. I don't bother. I'm only going to reload these 5 times maximum. They're pretty dirty. We got carbide dyes, it doesn't matter. All the primers are seating fine. Now, the problem with this powder and the load is if you were to fuck up and forget that you put powder in a shell and then go ahead and put it in again, there's room for that. Let me show you. Okay, that's loaded. Notice I forgot I loaded it. Well, it would be pretty easy to see that that's a double load. That would actually be a bad day. Really bad day. Back when I started doing this, Uncle Nasty taught me, by the way. So I'm probably completely wrong on everything I say. Just kidding. There was a powder that you can't buy anymore. It was called 2400, and in this 357 Magnum loading, it would actually fill the case up like you would with a black powder round. And when you seated the bullet, you were compressing the powder. It's called a compressed load. And the major benefit to that is it's impossible to double load it because you're loading it to case capacity with one charge. Basically, if you pay attention, you don't smoke a lot of dope while you're doing this. Stay focused, you'll be alright. If you load a double, you can kiss that gun goodbye. I asked Uncle Nasty a long time ago when he taught me this. Whew. Talking about way back before the turn of the century. I said, what about cleaning that brass? He said, you don't need to worry about that shit. Handgun cartridges. When you resize them and decap them, the carbide dye scrapes this shit off the outside of the case that would prevent it from loading. Well, that's a bell, and it still fits good. Is that a good bell? Oh, perfect. I did order a primer pocket cleaner from Amazon, along with 10 of these boxes, and I got the boxes. I never got the fucking primer pocket cleaner. They said I did, so I guess that's good enough. Anyway, I'll bring you back when we get done with this. We'll do some more setup. I got these 27 left, and 35, 38 specials. Good to have a few sources. Here I got Hydrogen Powder's website. It's always good to check more than one. Last bullets I reloaded was 158 grain, 357 Magnum. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Here's 158 grain. I used Blue Dot. This book, which was printed, this is Spear number 14. First printed in 2007, last printed in 2013. For the 158 grain projectile with Blue Dot, you start with your starting charge is 9 grains of powder. Your maximum charge is 10.2. And I loaded those pigs up with 10 grains, thinking they'd be hot, and I was wrong. Here's old Spear Reload Manual number 9 from the mid-70s. This was Uncle Nasty's, by the way. 357, 158 grain. Where the hell is the Blue Dot? Oh, that's lead. Here we go. 158 grain, soft point, Blue Dot. Starting charge is 11 grains. Maximum is 12. But their maximum here is 10.2. We're talking about a 1.8 grain difference in maximum charges. That's considerable. What does this one say about HS6 in this 125 grain? It says between 10 and 11.3. How big dipped? I should jack them up to 11. It should. It also has this asterisk saying use a Magnum primer. So this says between 10 and 11.3. This says between 9.8 and 10.9. I think I'll go with 11. Sounds good to me. So now we're going to fix the powder throw again. Pull out the scale again. What's up, buddy? What's up, buddy? That was a big fucking increase. Right to maximum. Now we're talking. It's not a rifle cartridge. Accuracy is not only to not be expected. Well, that's kind of here. So it don't matter. A tenth of a grain don't matter that much. Come on. Hope that fucking gunpowder don't blow my vacuum cleaner up. Should be fine in this humidity. There, bam, 11. Can we do it 2-3 times in a row? Look at that shit. Hotsy totsy 11.1. I'm gonna roll with that. It's a pretty number. We'll do it 3 times in a row. No. Good enough. Okay, now we're going to set back up 38. While I have this die in here. Because the manufacturers are considerate enough to give me this spacer, which is 1/10 of an inch. You leave it out for 38s, you put it in for 357, you don't have to change the shit every time, but I always forget that. Wow, how far did I back that one? Oh, there we have it. Test it with another. Not quite. That's good. You have to check a few because the case lengths vary. Unless you're an anal prick and you trim all your cases. Pro tip, I don't trim them, I don't clean them, I just load them up and shoot them. .1 0.15 on that one. .148. See, they're close enough. .358. And those are the fancy digital ones. I got these. I got those at Harbor Freight. And I got these here from Uncle Nasty. Ooh, you need a magnifying glass to read that. Let me tell you what. Hey, I got a magnifying glass right here. Yeah, these calipers, fuck that. Alright, we'll torque this down. It's just like adjusting the valves on your mower. When you lock it, it's going to change. So you test it again. Perfect. So, cock that back up. It's all cocked up. We got 5, 10, 35. $30. $35. Getting short on primers, Dad. They don't appear to be for sale these days. And where's the gun out here? After you resize them, you want to make sure they fall right in there, like so. Now, so now we do 35, 38s. I used to do this in the kitchen. Had this press screwed to the table. And when you're decapping and resizing, the primers are supposed to catch right here. And most of them do. But a considerable amount get out and hit that tile floor, and they go all over the place. Primers on your bare feet hurt like fuck, they do. So now I drop them on carpet. And we carry on tediously like this until that box is done, and I'll bring you back. Alright, everything's primed. Now we're going to move on to the loading stage. And since we have two different calibers on the table, these 38s need to get the fuck out of here. They need to be some gone. So we'll take this die out. That's all set up for 38. So next time I do 357s, I can just use that washer. Now I'm probably forget all about it again. Then the bullet cedar die. Raise it all the way up and bring this down, which is my crimp. The outside part is the crimp. Take that off because we're not crimping right now. And loosen that. The black part is the bullet cedar. Is it all the way up? That's locked. Alright, we're not crimping. We're set up for 357, 11 grains. We throw a charge, we look in there. We confirm it's not full to the top, which would be a double load. And we set that bullet there. Oh, that was very close. I'll gently screw that down, working the press each time. Pull that primer cedar out of the way. My cunt hair long. And another cunt hair. There. You want that to be in the candelure of the bullet. You're going to crimp it later. Later being the next step. There's one. Where's my thing? We'll put that right there. We will lock that lightly. try the second one. Powder. Visual. Set the bullet. Ramrod that fucker home. Check it. Perfect. Now we repeat that 150 times. You might be tempted. Let me back up. When the powder throw feels like shit, dump it out and do it again. Maybe 2 times. You might be tempted to put powder in 50 and then seat the bullets in 50. You can carry on and do that if you want. I think it's prudent to seat the bullet in each one right after you put the powder in. Less chance for mistakes. You can set this up to seat the bullet and crimp in one step, but it tends to shave a little bit, especially with lead bullets. I used to do it that way. I'm trying this 2-step method. See if I get a better result. Look how dirty that brass is. You should be ashamed. Look how tiny that hollow point is. With a little post in there, it's like a baby Hydra shock. So cute. Now, just as bad as putting too much powder in one would be to forget to put powder in one. You load a shell on an empty case. Load a bullet on an empty case, I say. You pull the trigger on that, and the primer's got just enough power to get the bullet stuck about right there. So make sure you put your powder in before. If you don't trust yourself, like you shouldn't, if you suspect that you forgot to put the powder in one, you can pump out your trusty scale. We know we put powder in that one. 213.1, 214.1, 213.4, 214, 214.8, 213.3, 214.4. Remember, the projectiles have a up to 1 grain discrepancy in the weight. But if you get one that's 10 grains light, you probably ain't got any powder in that one. Excuse me. We'll repeat this for a while and bring you back for some crimpage. Bring this up. If you're thinking about getting into reloading, boy, are you fucked right now. You can't buy primers. This whole setup, this press, this powder measure, that scale, and various other things that comes with everything you need. I bought it 5 years ago for about $400. And what does it cost per round? That powder's got 1 pound of powder's got 7,000 grains in it. So that 1 pound will load me up about 700. So if we take $30 divided by 700, that costs you 4 cents a round for powder. The bullets cost 13 cents each. Primers cost 3 cents each. And the brass is essentially free. You buy factory ammo, you shoot it, you have the brass. But if you wanted to buy it, I used to get it for $20 for 100. That jacks the price right up there. 20 divided by 100. $20 divided by 100 is 20 cents each. So let's add all that up. 20 cents per shell plus 4 cents for powder plus 13 cents for a bullet plus 3 cents for a primer. Costs you 40 cents a round. They cost $1 at the store. They used to. I don't think you can buy them anymore. But yeah, I had to wait 2 months. 2 months from the time I ordered those bullets till the time I got them. But now I got 40-cent bullets. If you're looking to get into it right now, you are fucked. You can buy the equipment. You just can't buy the shit. Little caveat there. Considering doing this for just the money saving, you should consider it again. It's not really about that. Let's whip up the calculator again. Like I said, $400 for the equipment, then you got to spend $70 on the dyes. Then you got to spend money on powder, and then you got to spend money on primers. Let's say $500 to be safe. $500, and like I said, these were 40 cents each, so you're saving 60 cents a round. So we divide that by 60 cents. When you have loaded and shot 833 rounds, you have saved enough money to pay for everything. This 5-year-old equipment, I haven't reached that point yet. Not about saving, it's about loading what you want. With a revolver. Revolver is versatile. Never has any feeding issues. So you can put all different kinds of bullets in it. You can fuck with the charges because, again, no feeding issues. These must be the Remingtons. If you wanna go buy hollow base wad cutters and put them in there backwards, you can do that. If you want to reload rifle cartridges for extreme accuracy, you can do that. That's what the reloading's about. If you're just going to reload 9mm just to save money, I don't see the fun in that. Remingtons appear to be a bit short. .285. I say that because they didn't get flared as much as 1.284. .286. Federals, they flared out nicely. Yeah, 1.288. .29. 1.29. Just a note. You want to keep your eyes peeled for shit like that right there. This is no good. I think that one's only been fired once. Dead blame Remington. Looks like I'm going to run out of powder before I get to the 38s. Well, fuck, it's time to get the books out. Come on, goddamn. Let's see what happens. We load up the rest of these 357s. Maybe the old book will say something. Maybe. See what that old book says. Hey, what you doing? Special. 110, 125 blue dot. They didn't have plus P back in those days. So this is 8 grains of blue dot. Just for shits and giggles. 57. 38 special plus P has no blue dot listed. So there's 38 special. 125 grain. No blue dot. Nope. They do have blue dot for 357 Magnum, 110 grain and 158 grain. We'll go with 8 grains. Why not? What does this say? $19, $25. Blue dot. The only time they got blue dot is for that. God almighty. Screw fell out of my fucking powder measure. Because why the fuck wouldn't it? This fucking powder measure costs $80 to replace it. And it says, made in China, no doubt. Two split Remington cases I did. Alrighty then. This is Remington brass. Put that there. That's federal brass. Now, we're just going to pause over 38 and bring that bullet cedar up. Nice and nice. Bring it up some more. Now we're going to crimp. Pretty good. Let's try one more. Uncrimped. A bit more. I'm going to set this for the Federals. Crimp all of them. And set it again for the shorter fucking Remingtons. Looks good. Yes, that looks wonderful. Cut here more. Beauty. It's prudent to label these. .125 grain jacketed hollow point. Those 11 grains of HS6. tedious. Alright, we got 148 rounds of full power 357 with the certified man stoppers, 125 grains active hollow point, for a total cost of $29.60 plus my time. It cost 20 cents a round because I'm not factoring in the brass because it was free. Now, rather, excuse me, got the COVID, rather than fuck around with blue dot, we're gonna go with, see if I got enough HS6 to do 38 specials. Let's see, what the fuck am I looking for? What was my recipe? 38 special plus P, HS6, 7.8 grains. Good Lord, hit it on the first try. Zero. $7.7. $8. That's fucked. $7.9. Let's crank it down a good air. They don't give you a starting level, they just give you a maximum 7.8. I like to do just an absurd amount of times just to make sure I'm in the neighborhood. 7.89. Because this powder measure works on volume, not weight. If you wanted real accuracy, you would weigh each individual round. Ain't into all that. 7.8, we were good. Beauty. Now, with the powder hold out, it's looking good. If you don't like the you don't like the feel of the throw, dump it back in, do it again. Doesn't cost nothing, did it? .38's all loaded. We had powder to spare. How much did we have to spare? Let's empty this out and see. 2, 3. Enough to load 28 more rounds of 38. Setting up the crimp now. That's good. Beauty. Love that nickel plated brass. Stays cleaner so much longer. These are for the shitter gun. Now see what I mean? This is 38 special. There's a 357. Oh. Eh. Not gonna happen. We'll just put that down there. So that thing's light. But conversely, 357 eats 38s all day. It's a nasty looking hollow point there. that's about it. That has loaded all the ammo I have hit the grass for. I have 200 and some projectiles. About the same number of bullets as I do primers. I think I'll shoot these 38s in that 357 first. Since it is a Taurus. Fucker doesn't weigh anything. It's like a piece of toilet paper. That's a hefty beast right there. Another thing about reloading. This is RCBS. RCBS, that stands for Rock Chuck Bullet Swage. Which doesn't really matter, but that's what Uncle Nasty had when he taught me how to do it, and it's good shit. Dylan makes good shit. Lee, a lot of people are tempted to get Lee reloading shit when they start out. Avoid that like the plague. It's garbage. Can't go wrong with this. All right. What are you doing, big boy? You didn't help. Why didn't you help me, buddy? Who's your good boy? Who's your good boy? You are. You're a good boy. You got your vacuum cleaner hose.